And then I randomly had this song playing one time. I saw a girl in the class like singing along, and all of a sudden I was like, look at how much more she's getting into this workout because she knows the words, she's moving her body to the beat. And so that's just how it developed from there, and people just like they were drawn to it. There is absolutely no way I would be where I am right now if I didn't think I could be here.
Hello and welcome to episode 20 of the M26 Fit podcast. First and foremost, a massive thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in and making this journey so incredibly rewarding and possible. Your support has been a driving force behind every episode, and we are beyond grateful. We always love and we're eager to hear from you. So if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, please don't hesitate to send them our way. We love diving into your curiosities and providing content that resonates with you. If you want to learn more about M26 Fit, you can head over to our website and explore our mission and even check out some of our apparel. Exciting news alert. We're shaking things up and our episode structure. We've been working behind the scenes to bring more value, more insights, and more engaging content your way. So stay tuned and get ready for some exciting new twists. Now, let's dive into today's episode. We are absolutely thrilled to have a very special guest with us today, Bek, the dynamic founder of RBB Fitness Studio. Bek is a fountain of knowledge and an inspiration in the fitness world, and we can't wait to delve into her insights, experiences, and the journey of creating a fitness studio that stands out. So grab your headphones, settle in, and let's get started on another enlightening episode. Today's guest is Rebecca from RBB Fitness Studio. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. Can you share your inspiration and vision behind founding RBB Fitness Studio and how you managed to create Australia's first HIIT-to-the-beat workout?
Yeah, so it's really funny. I was a personal trainer. I was working for just a commercial gym. I was obsessed with group fitness, and I was also teaching group fitness as I was going along. And I got to this point where I realized there's this gap in the market where people are wanting that personal training touch, but they don't exactly want to pay for a personal trainer. This was about 2014, so it was around the days when high-intensity interval training was not really well known, but I'd experienced the power of it, and so I just decided, hey, I'm just going to put it out there. I just made a post on my Facebook where I just said, hey, I'm going to take on this, I'm going to start doing these small group training sessions, 4 people at a time. We're going to do high intensity interval training. I had this little like video that I was like, this is what it looks like. And within 12 hours, I had 25 sessions booked in. And so it very quickly became my personal training business, where I was running them on the gym floor. I was this little energetic 21-year-old or, whatever it was. And it very quickly got to the point that I was loud, I was noisy, I was taking up space. And so all the other trainers essentially said to me, look, can you just go use the group fitness space when it's available, when it's not being used? And so I did. I approached management and they essentially said to me, yeah, you can use that space, but it's an additional cost, which then meant I fell under different guidelines, which meant I could actually train up to 60 people at a time. I could use the sound system. I could use the functional equipment that was in there. And that's when my brain really started to tick. And it was really funny too, because I was a group fitness instructor at heart with the personal training knowledge and the touch. I then realized I could actually do the workout with them like I would in a regular group fitness class. So then I started doing the workout with them. I had the microphone on, and then it just built from there. So there actually was never a plan for me to open a studio. The plan is that I wanted to create the most exceptional workout experience ever. And so that's what I did. Right? And I spent all my time researching, developing this product and this program, which started as a cardio class. It then became a cardio and a strength, and then a cardio, a strength and a core, and it just built and built and built. And so it got to the point that it was just so popular, I had to have a space. And that's where the studio was birthed.
So how did you go about introducing the music to it? So you've got that beat.
Yeah. So as a group fitness instructor, I knew the power of music, and I knew that my body personally moved better when I was moving my body to music. And I remember specifically this moment where I never used to actually do the workouts to the beat. I would just have music in the background and I would be coaching them through. And then I randomly had this song playing one time, and I saw a girl, we were doing lunges, I saw a girl in the class like singing along. And all of a sudden I was like, look at how much more she's getting into this workout because she knows the words, she's moving her body to the beat. And so then I started doing all this research around the power of moving your body to the beat. And there's actually a lot of research out there around how when your body feels music or it hears a song that it heard when you were between the ages of 18 and 25, it has the most impact on your life. And so that music will impact you forever more than anything else. So if you can tap into understanding who your market is and using the music from that time, you'll have people that are automatically attracted to your brand. And so then I just started doing it. And it was really funny because I learnt choreography better when it was to the beat. So it was actually easier for me to do, but then it was easier for me to teach. And so that's just how it developed from there. And people just, like, they were drawn to it, yeah?
Embraced it.
Yeah.
Also, at 22 then, so you created what is now a very successful business in an industry that was yet to boom in Australia. Can you walk us through some of the challenges that you faced in the initial stages and how you overcame them?
Oh, my goodness, so many. So I had a business degree. So from the outside, I had everything I needed, right? I had the qualification, I'd done the research, I knew how to do SWOT analysis, and I knew how to do a budget and a business plan and all these things. And that very quickly went out the window because I could spend hours and hours and hours and days creating a business plan and then have to pivot every 12 hours. But there were a lot of significant challenges, yeah. First and foremostly, I had zero experience running a studio. I had no idea what it looked like. I didn't even know I needed a studio manager. Like, I didn't even think that. Like, you don't even think through any of those things. I had no idea what a commercial lease was. I had no idea how to negotiate a commercial. I had no idea when you sign a commercial lease, you have to have a bank guarantee. Like, I had no idea. I just had to give 3 months rent up front just in case something happens, you know?
Like, driven by passion.
Majorly, which is, you know, $20,000, $25,000, $30,000. And like they said to me, hi, can you give us your bank guarantee? And I was like, what is that? You know? And so, look, I look back on those initial years, and the first component that was a challenge was proving myself. Yeah. So proving I knew what I was talking about, proving that my product was worth people paying for. What I was doing was revolutionary. So people didn't know what I was doing, and I was asking people to pay for a product they didn't know about. It's like asking someone to pay for the iPhone before knowing what the iPhone is. Yeah. And so I was creating this product, doing all this research, trying to prove to people that what I was doing was worth their while and their money to just give it a go. You know, that whole piece in itself taught me the power of believing in what you do. Because if you believe in what you do, people will be drawn to your belief. So that was incredibly challenging. I did the whole thing to this day without ever getting a bank loan. So I self-funded the entire process. So being a 22-year-old, having not even 2 cents to rub together and growing this thing off the cash that I was making was significantly challenging. Going from one step to the next in terms of renting a space to being in a space was huge. I didn't know where to source equipment from. You know, I knew nothing. I didn't know how to market. I didn't know, I knew nothing. And I did like a crash course in business just by doing. you know? So the hardest few years of my life ever, looking back on them, but I did it.
But the most rewarding. But you're saying, so the business degree didn't help that much?
It definitely helped. I'm glad I have it. And it taught me, I think, components of running a business that subconsciously I still use. But in terms of, hey, this is a step-by-step how to start a business, absolutely not. No. I really believe business degrees, and this has probably changed, but when I was in business degrees are catered for CEOs. They are designed for people who are in corporate.
Not entrepreneurs.
No, it's not an entrepreneurial degree, no.
All right, you emphasise emotional and physical response to working out to music that we touched on. Can you elaborate on how music enhances the workout experience mentally? Like you touched on it physically, but what would you say from a mental perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. So when your brain registers with music that makes it feel good, and it's really funny, one of my members actually works in this area. She's very, very high up in data research. And so we've done a huge amount of research with her around certain beats per minute, what it does to your brain. And it's even different people have different things that they register with and feel happy feelings about. Some people feel anger with a different beats per minute. Like think about like when you hear a song, you automatically know if it's a happy song or a sad song. You automatically know if it's a sexy song, you know, because everything has a certain beat and it's sensual or it's not, or, you know. And so our bodies respond to waves, music waves, and the beats per minute. And knowing that enables me to tap into different components of people's brain to then actually elevate the serotonin levels in their brain. Because essentially what they've proven is that exercise is an emotional relief. That's what it is. So when you feel depressed, when you've been through trauma, when you've experienced stress, your body is craving emotional relief. And that's what exercise does. It elevates your brain to a level that is actually almost like a sleep or a rest for your brain and your body and your nervous system. And then when you put music in on top of that as well, where it triggers those feel-good, happy hormones, it's like a double relief. So that's where we've found the power of it. The other component of it too that we've found is when people are feeling the music as opposed to watching a timer or a countdown timer, it allows them to go to a place in their mind where they can actually switch off. And it becomes like, it actually becomes me time rather than like 10 seconds to go, like, you know. And some people are driven by that, some people love that, but our target market would prefer to just fully immerse. And because we bring the lights down, we've got the neons, like it's that whole immersive experience that we're trying to create.
Yeah, so it's very emotionally driven as well.
Hugely so. Put on top of that, a motivational trainer who's telling you things that you can't tell yourself or you wish you could tell yourself, and it's like this therapy session all in a nutshell. Yeah.
Game changer.
Yeah.
All right, attitude. Now, I'm massive on attitude. I think it's everything. Can you explain its importance and how it's impacted the birth and success of your studio?
Oh my goodness. There is absolutely no way I would be where I am right now if I didn't think I could be here. It is really, really challenging pulling yourself up or getting yourself up every single day when you have absolute crippling stress and anxiety. And that's what I had in the beginning days of running my business. Put on top of that, I had a significant lawsuit that I was also dealing with from the commercial gym that I worked for. They served me with a restraint of trade and sued me. And so I was 23 and I had this massive lawsuit over my shoulders where they were trying to essentially shut me down. But what I found is in the initial days when I had my 50 members or whatever it was, I was literally making ends meet, saving every penny, trying to market, trying to sell, trying to manage, create systems, plus create a product at the same time. You know, I was still developing these workouts. That there and the attitude I had to put on in terms of my mindset and the strength that I needed to create through my mind now makes what I do easy. Because the resilience that was required to do that, I still have today.
Correct. So it was building that resilience that was important.
Yes.
And once you did that through those younger years, has made what you're going through now easier.
I feel like I've retired.
Yeah.
Like, even though I haven't, you know, but when I compare the two, you know, like back then it was me doing everything, including cleaning, everything, you know, and doing that, making no money, trying to build, trying to sell, dealing with memberships ending, dealing with complaints, dealing with plus a legal battle where people are actually just trying to shut me down. Where every day I was like, all I want to do is just get up and train. And the thing is, I loved what I did so much and I believed in what I did so much that even if I had to do it for free for the rest of my life, I would still do it every day for the rest of my life. The most powerful thing I incorporated was daily affirmations. And every single day I would get up and I would read my affirmations out loud that, you know, I am strong, I am confident, you know, I'm a successful businesswoman, you know, money flows easily to me, you know, the whole thing, right? And so I would do that every day and sometimes morning and night. And it just becomes so ingrained in who you are that it taught me this level of resilience that now, whenever life gets tough, I mean, I still do daily affirmations every single day, right? But when life gets tough now, I have this inner strength that kicks in and I feel it now. Yeah, it's like you feel your senses coming back online and I'm like, oh, I know this feeling. And it's that attitude that I can adapt really quickly now to get me through.
Similar with your physical fitness too, isn't it? Like when you first start out, you don't have any strength, you don't have any flexibility, and then all of a sudden you train for a period of time and then you built up strength, you built up physical resistance, and you're in a much better position to face any obstacles.
Yeah, usually so.
So you're a strong advocate for continuous learning and upskilling to become the leader that you've become. Can you talk us through some insights on the types of learning or courses that have been most beneficial to you to gain the knowledge necessary to be where you are now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was and am obsessed with learning. If I don't feel as though I'm learning something in my week, I feel as though my week has not been productive. I am constantly signing up for courses. I'm constantly spending like every spare hour of my night times reading, learning, podcasting, audiobooking, everything. When I was building my business, I brought on a business coach immediately. And it was a significant investment that was a risk for me, but it has been the best investment ever. Especially in those days where it literally was like, I don't even really know, like I have this thing now, and I know that anyone who's an entrepreneur listening to this would kind of get it, but we have like your dashboard that's like your variables of your expenses and what's your fixed expenses and what's your variable expenses, and I have my like monthly dashboard, and I'm like, you know, play around with it, and you've got your cash projections and all that sort of stuff that you learn at uni, but it just goes out the window. Whereas when I had a business coach, week on week, we could look at it and she could go, Beck, you're doing amazing. Like even little things where I was like, oh, my studio's not at this number of members yet. And she's like, cool, go do the research for me and find out what the average studio membership number is in Australia. And it's like 90 is the average studio member number. And I'm like more than double that. Right? And all of a sudden she's like, you're incredibly successful. Stop comparing yourself to these people. Actually go out and look at that, you know? And so that's where you need like a coach just sit you there and go through, and she helped me through the lawsuit, she helped me through all those things, and even today she like doubles as my psychologist. Like it's this whole, and so that was the biggest, best investment, and she's still my business coach to this day. I've brought on, like, I'm now paying for business coaching 10 times the price of what I first paid for business coaching, you know, because the more you grow, it's like the higher level coach that you need. So my current mentor at the moment is the old COO of Fitness First Australia, which is crazy when you know my story, knowing that they sued me. But she's now teaching me. She took Fitness First from 2 to 90 locations in the time that she was the COO. So she has just this wealth of knowledge on scaling and growth. And so that has been the biggest thing for me, is having a business coach. I also had such a pivotal change in brand awareness when I did a marketing course in 2019 that was specific for the fitness industry. And that really helped me take my brand from here to here. So they were probably the two most pivotal things.
That's awesome. I can't say highly enough as well about coaching. And yeah, I've got 3 different coaches in 3 different areas of my life. And it every successful athlete, for example, they all know the importance of coaches. And I think it's becoming a little bit more prevalent in that business industry now. People getting an understanding, if you want to get to that elite level, well, you need someone that's been there.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, balance. Now, for me, that involves resting, continuously evaluating and adjusting. How do you maintain your balance while running and growing your business? And has there been a time in your life when things weren't balanced for you?
Yes, this has been the most challenging thing. I think most entrepreneurs have an issue with stopping, and I definitely have an issue with stopping. Last year... So this has been a big thing for me in the last 12 months. January last year, I caught COVID, and I thought I would be one of the ones that bounced back really quickly, and I wasn't. I was hit with long COVID and was very, very sick for about 6 weeks. When I am a group fitness instructor for my job and you have a respiratory illness that you can't breathe, it makes your job very hard. And I became quite depressed through that, just not having the get up and go that I usually would. Off the back of that, I had some significant personal changes in my life that really, really knocked me around. And I got quite serious about my health this year. I actually took myself to Bali in January, and I lived there for 5 weeks.
Wow, a bit of a sabbatical.
Yeah. I worked remotely. I wrote 2 books while I was over there. So which actually became the platform for launching my own podcast, because I all of a sudden realized how much information I had inside my head. And it was actually so good for my business being over there, because I realized my business could run and grow with me not even being on the ground. So coming back from Bali, and Bali was exceptional. The people I met, I was working in a co-working space over there, and it was, it's the top performing digital nomads from all over the world, all in one co-working space.
Is it
Bali.
really?
Yeah. So Bali has grown by 32% in the last 12 months, all digital nomads.
Is that right?
Yeah. Because of COVID, everyone can work from anywhere. And so some of my best friends that are now my best friends, I met at this co-working space in Bali, where we just lived together for 5 weeks. It was the most amazing thing. We had our own villas and everything, but we'd go out for dinner every night. We'd, go and do day trips to places, and we'd just sit and work together all day in this co-working space. It was amazing. One of my friends owns a sunglasses company that he generates 7 figures every year on selling sunglasses. And another one is a marketer. One girl is a TikToker. She's a NASA engineer, and she got famous over COVID teaching maths to kids. And so she was in Bali writing a book for her publisher. A publisher picked her up. It's just, you just meet these high performing individuals with fascinating stories, and you're all in this melting pot that is Bali. And so that was such a huge thing for me to step away and go, you mean I actually can keep my business running without being on the ground every day? So coming back from Bali, I really put a lot of things in place. I was also given a very solid slap on the wrist from my doctors, because I was very, very close to chronic fatigue. My absolute adrenal fatigue, hugely so, major burnout. And I've spent this year rebuilding, and I'm still not better. But this year I've had to get so serious about rest and recovery.
And reflection, by the sound of it, which you spent a lot of time doing over there.
Yes, a lot of reflection. And so I've had to change my eating patterns. I've had to change, I would just go, and be like, I can just keep going and go. And then I'd crash and burn, And so now I'm like, cool, if I want to operate at that level consistently for the next 10 years, what do I need to be supplementing?
Exactly.
What does my supplement stack look like every day? And so then doing all this research around ashwagandha and, taking my vitamin B3 and, all these different things, and then my fish oils and, and I have like 10 different tablets I now take every day, and I have my magnesium for nighttime, and how often do I need to be stretching, and how often do I need to be breathing? And so, do I need to incorporate this into my daily routine? And so I had to habit stack rest, so that I actually took the time to rest. And so for a big thing for me is Sabbathing, like actually introducing a day of rest and what that looks like for me, and trusting that my business will grow if I take the time to breathe. And it's not something I've perfected, and it's something I'm still working on, but I've noticed in that I'm a better person, I'm happier, I've started journaling, getting all my thoughts out. And the amazing component through this entire journey of rest and recovery is I've come up with all these additional courses I want to do. I want to now teach my own courses, and I'm like, oh, I can teach this to people. And, and so I'm now seeing all these extra business ideas happen because I actually took the time to just chill.
Super, super good advice. I think it's great maturity at your age, obviously, to get to that point, because that's what it's all about. That whole resting and reflecting and adjusting is what gives you that ability to keep going and to get yourself to the next level. Yeah. So well done.
Thank you.
So how do you foster a sense of community and support among your clients, and why is this important in them achieving their fitness goals?
We as humans are built for community. Even the introverts, we are built for community.
Yes.
And I know, obviously, what I do is group fitness, which means I have experienced the power of community and what happens when a group of people come together and do things together. You think about the difference between watching a football game on your own and watching a football game in a stadium with 10,000 people. It's a completely different experience. It's a heightened emotional experience, and it's a memorable experience. And so that's what we attempt to create in the studio. But as part of that, we attempt to foster a community of people cheering each other on. Like at the beginning of every workout, I'll always say to people, I have 3 rules in my studio. Rule number 1, you don't stop. Rule number 2, you cheer your neighbor on as often as you possibly can. And number 3, you have the best time. And so we have incorporated into the system or the structure of our classes
Culture.
Talk to your neighbor. Give your neighbor a high five. With all my trainers, when we do our training program, it's a point of contact. Every person in the room must have a point of contact. And we have all these systems in place around, hi, this is Lucy. She has 2 children. This is where, she lives. And so that way our trainers know, oh, hi, Lucy, how was that dance concert last Thursday or whatever, And we build that sense of community. We also have a closed Facebook group that everyone's in that builds that sense of community. We have a group chat that everyone's in that builds a sense of community. And people have become best friends through the studio. Everyone's now each other's bridesmaids, godmothers, all these things, because it's fostered this community. And I tell you what, that was hard to start. And that's going back to one of your initial questions, fostering a community is challenging. So I had to be a fearless leader who didn't care about what other people thought of me. And the second I got over myself and got over my fear of my own reputation, that's when I was able to foster a community. So I knew that I had to be the one that was encouraging, believed in myself, believed in them, didn't care, you know, like we would create all these things around, like, you know, if you show up tomorrow with your shirt inside out, like, you're officially getting an extra 10 points. And, you know, all those things, like I very quickly squashed beautiful people culture out of who we are, because I know that it's just not sustainable, and that's actually not a community.
Not who you are.
No. And so I was very raw and real in who I was as a person. And then through that attracted people to me. But then I made it my goal to make every other person feel like they were the most special person in the room. And the thing that has been so incredibly beautiful for us is we have the longest membership timeline out of any gym I know. Our members are members for years, and if they leave, they always come back. And so it's been this really amazing experience where I'm very selective with my trainers. I only bring on people that foster the same culture. We instill culture into them immediately. We also have an incredible team culture, so it starts from the top down. The second there's gossip, the second there's conflict, we address it immediately and we squash it. And so that has been really powerful for us. And that has been very hard. It's very, very hard to not create a cliquey culture, but I think we've done a really good job at it.
That's awesome. And I love your passion when you're telling us too. So.
I also talk with my hands a lot, so just a forewarning.
Now, we'll shift it slightly. Now, I hear that some of your workouts are potentially going to be streamed into 100 million homes. How does that feel to potentially have such a wide-reaching impact, and what do you hope to achieve with that global exposure?
It feels so surreal. So surreal. It was the easiest deal on the planet I've ever made, and I didn't realize the level of impact it was actually going to make until I got to India. So essentially I was in Singapore at the fitness summit there. So what the fitness summit is you have to be in the C-suite to go to this fitness summit. So you've got to be CEO, CFO, founder, whatever. 60 countries are represented there, and it's, you know, the top from each country, right? So I was there with the Fit Stops and the F45s and all those guys, yeah, and we were having a great time. And I sat next to the founder of this app, and we just struck up conversation, literally. What do you do? What do I do? And I just said, I'm from Australia. I have a studio, and we teach Australia's first HIIT-to-the-beat workout. And he queried, what is that? What does that look like? And then he just said to me, can I get your details? Got my details. I thought nothing of it. Ran into him the next day, and he was like, hey, I've researched your stuff. Can I have a meeting with you? So we booked in a meeting for the following week on Zoom, and just immediately within the first 5 minutes, he was like, how can we get you to India? We want to bring you on as a head trainer. This is what we do. I had no idea what his app even did. Like, he said to me, I own an app. Like, we do. He's like, it's the equivalent of the Sweat app in India. And I was like, oh, okay, no worries. Little did I know, this guy owns the fitness channel in India. He technically owns 4 channels in India, but one of them is the fitness channel. 24/7, 100 million viewers every single day, which, you know, is no small feat, but you also consider there's 1.5 billion people in India. Yeah, so it's just another level. Everyone still watches TV over there. Plus it's streamed to Disney+, Tata Play, D2H, Sony, and they're in discussions with Prime. So it's streamed everywhere. There's 30 million subscribers to this app. Like, it's next level, right? And so we'd gone through all of these meetings, and he was like, I want you to film 5 workouts for us. We negotiated a rate. They flew me out. And then I went into 3 days of production with them, and it was just the most surreal experience. I was filming with one of the top Bollywood producers, which was crazy, right? I was like sitting there having this meeting with this guy. I get his like details, and then I like go back up to my hotel room, and I'm like Googling him, and I'm like, oh, like this guy is a big deal. Yeah. And it was really cool, like a really, really cool experience. But then to think that we're going to have that level of impact, this is what I've seen in my head for 10 years. You know what I mean? And it's this really surreal thing where it hasn't happened yet. So it doesn't quite feel real. And I don't want to get ahead of myself and be like, this is going to be game changing. But if this takes off, this is going to be so incredibly game changing for my business, for my brand, for my personal brand, for everything. It changes the trajectory of where I'm going, and it starts to make sense why I've done everything I've done. You know how, and this is something that my business coach taught me 7 years ago, was everything you're doing right now is preparing you for what you're called for. And so, you know, I'd be doing things and questioning, why do I have to go through this? Why is this so hard for me? Why am I having to learn this, you know? And then you look back and you go, I can see it. I can now see how it was meant to be. So yeah, it's quite surreal. So watch this space.
Wow, that is incredible. I'm a little bit shocked just to try and grasp the enormity of that.
Yeah, it's huge. And it's so funny because I emailed them a week or two prior to going over, and I said to them, hey, like, I'm looking at bringing on a PR company just to assist in the promotion of this in Australia. Like, what are your thoughts? Are you okay if I get content when I'm over there? And they came back to me and they were like, are you sure you need a PR company? And I was like, oh, maybe. And then I got over there and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I don't really need a PR company. Like, the amount, like, we did 2 days of promotional shooting, like, purely like, hi, I'm Bek, watch me on Disney Plus. Hi, I'm Bek from da-da-da. Like, they're like, you're going to be so heavily promoted that you don't have to worry about that.
All right, so for our listeners who are wanting to take control of their fitness, what advice would you give them?
It is really interesting because every person I ever speak to wants to get fitter. You know, I don't know a single person on the planet that's like, oh no, I'm stoked with where I'm at right now. You know, everyone wants to be a better version of themselves. They just don't quite maybe realize that's the terminology that they want. Like, you know, there is still, I want to be skinnier, I want to lose weight, I want to tone up, you know, which are all great things as well. We have seen a significant shift in the last 12 months where more people are joining up for gyms because of mental health as opposed to physical health, which is fantastic. That's a really good shift. But I think so many people adapt an all or nothing mindset, and they decide that they're going to start in January. Right? I was literally having a conversation last week with my hairdresser, and she was like, so this is my plan for January. And I was like, it's September. Why don't you start it now? And then by the time you hit January, you've got 3 months under your belt, you know? And so people are like, oh, I'll start this and that's what I'm going to do. And they look at exercise like it's this big, far-reaching thing. Whereas in reality, all it needs to be is just one workout. You know, and you don't have to go to the sky. Like, you can actually just start with a walk every day, you know, and get yourself out and get yourself moving. It doesn't have to be, I have to go 5 days a week. I have to do strength training, interval training, da-da-da-da. That can just be so incredibly overwhelming.
Just start.
Just do one thing and just make it a bite-sized thing because you want to do something that's sustainable for you. So if that literally is a walk every day, for half an hour.
Build momentum.
Yeah.
Right. Now, can you share a bit of your personal fitness routine and how you incorporate mental fitness practice into that daily life and maintain that strong mind and that strong body?
Yeah. So fitness has been part of my daily routine for 10 years, right? So plus. So when I was 15, 16, teenager is when I started to get into exercise. Prior to that, I was a really competitive horse rider. So I've always had discipline. My mum raised my sister and I in a way that was very structured. And we had our like high performing routines, you know, morning piano, do this. But then it was like I was raised in a like a really strict Christian household. So it was like, morning piano, do this, then we do devotions, then we do prayer, and then we like put our clothes on, and then we go to school, and then we do this, and we come home, and then, we're doing like, serving at this place, and then we're doing this, and then, we do our homework, and we get straight A's on our homework, and then we do this, and then go to bed. And I look back at that and I'm like, man alive, like she created a soldier. Yeah. Like I was born a soldier, and I'm thankful for that because it instilled in me discipline. But I naturally had in me, I wanted to always be something. And so I was born and raised in a small town in central Queensland. And because of that, I had nothing else to do with my life. But I would live for the city. Like I was obsessed with the city. I was obsessed with LA, New York, big cities. And so I wanted to be like the city girls. And that was like my driving factor. And it's so funny because like when I was a little girl and we would go for holidays to big cities, I used to sit in my hotel room and look out at the city and dream and pray and like have all these like visions of like all the things I wanted to do with my life. And I think the fact that I've always been a dreamer is the thing that enabled me to have discipline. So for me, I always think about what I want to achieve and then I just get down and do it, right? Instead of just living with my head in the clouds. So I started exercising consistently at about 15, more so 17 when I finished high school, joined a gym, learnt the importance of strength training, and it's just become a part of my daily routine moving forward. My current training routine is I obviously teach classes 4 days a week. So I used to teach like 19 classes a week, like nuts. Now I teach 4 days a week, which is about 6 classes in total. And with RBB, it's structured in that the cardio is high intensity interval training cardio. So we do that. And then there's either an upper body strength component, a lower body strength component, or a core component. So I get an upper body strength, a lower body strength, and a core workout in each week. On top of that, I also run. So I run once or twice a week, normally about 5Ks, like nothing huge. I'm currently training for Bridge to Brisbane. So actually one of my trainers is like an ultra marathon runner and he like runs rings around me. And I'm like, well, I did my 5K this morning. So, I'm clearly a fitness buff, but I do that. And then I also have this year actually joined up to another studio, like a boutique fitness studio, to allow me to just be a member. And so once or twice a week, I go and I just do a really heavy weight session and I love it. So I train every day. I love variety. RBB enables me to have variety because every workout is different. I do that. I get everything in my week that I need. And yeah.
Perfect. Now we've got the quick fire question time. You ready?
Yep. Very ready.
Okay. Deep breath. Okay. Favorite workout song?
By Usher.
Morning or evening workouts?
Morning.
Best book you've ever read?
8 Rules of Love by Jay Shetty.
Favorite travel destination?
New York.
Best way to relax?
Oh, napping.
Your go-to healthy snack?
Okay, so I'm obsessed with peanut butter. So anything peanut butter.
Best advice you've ever received?
It doesn't matter where the final destination is. All you need to know is the next step.
The most used app on your phone?
Instagram.
What do you want to be remembered for?
Making an incredible impact in the fitness industry.
One thing on your bucket list?
Go to Greece.
If you're a fruit, which one would you be?
Definitely a strawberry.
First thing you do in the morning?
Do my daily affirmations.
Most inspiring person?
My business coach.
A city you'd love to live in?
New York or LA. LA, to be honest.
Most rewarding part of your work?
Oh, my workouts. Seeing the community fall in love with working out. It's like a drug to me.
All right, last one. Question 26. Finish this sentence. I believe
that you can achieve anything you put your mind to.
I love it. Well, what an epic episode, Rebecca. Thank you so much for being a part of this milestone here in our studio today. I've really enjoyed chatting with you and I've loved hearing your journey, and I wish you every success. It's been awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning into this conversation with Bek from RBB Fitness Studio. A huge shout out to Bek for sharing her invaluable insights and experience with us. We hope you all found this episode as inspiring and informative as I did. You can check out more about RBB Fitness Studio by heading to the link in the show notes. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, we have a small favour to ask. Could you please take a moment to subscribe, review, and maybe share this podcast with someone you know will appreciate it? Your support helps us reach more listeners as we continue to deliver content that educates and inspires people. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media to stay in the loop with all the adventures we run. From our weekly captain's paddle on the Brisbane River to our thrilling up-and-coming trek to base camp. We have exciting activities lined up and we'd love for you to join us and be part of our growing community. Stay tuned, stay adventurous, and let's continue this journey of building a strong mind and a strong body.